Hello students, welcome to today's class. I am Sunita from GK Jain Schools. Students, today I am going to teach you a poem from the class 10 standard English textbook. It is from the unit 6. The name of the poem is No Man Are Foreign. This poem is written by the poet James Falcone Kirkham. I will give you a short introduction about this poem first. No man are foreign means that no man belongs to another country. The poet wants to tell us that all men are equal, all men are same. He wants to promote the concept of universal brotherhood through this poem. That's why he says that everyone in this world are same. All people, all men are same. They eat, live and die the same way. Everyone gets the boundaries of nature, light, sunshine, air, water, land, etc. in equal measures. So ultimately we can say that this is a peace poem. So students, now before we go on to the summary of the poem, first we will see the introduction about the poem, followed by the summary of the poem, and then finally we will see the poetic devices in this poem. So let's first see about the author.
About the author, James Falcone Kirkham, born in 1918, died in 2009, was an English poet, translator and travel writer. He wrote over 30 books, including autobiographies, novels and plays. Kirkham wrote his first book of poetry, The Drowned Sailor at the Downs, which was published in 1947. His hometown of South Shields now holds a growing collection of his works in the Central Library, and artifacts from his time in Japan are housed in the nearby museum. His last volume of poetry was published during the summer of 2008 by Red Squirrel Press and was launched at a special event at Central Library in South Shields. Summary of the poem No Men Are Foreign. No Men Are Foreign is a thought-provoking poem by James Kirkham. It tells us that there is no difference between different people and the countries they live in. Therefore, wars and the bloodshed that takes place in the name of caste, class, creed and country are futile and must be condemned. The uniforms worn by people in different parts of the world may be different, but the bodies beneath them are the same. The earth that one walks upon is the same for all people from different countries. All will one day or the other die and return to earth one day. People in every part of the world get sunshine, air and water in equal measures. They do prosper during peace, but have to suffer poverty and hunger during the war like us. They do the same jobs to earn their livelihood as we do. They are built just like us and sleep or wake up in a manner similar to us. They too can be won over by love. Thus, human life is the same in every part of the world. We must remember that when we hate, betray and condemn others or forcibly take away land and property from them, we actually harm ourselves. Our weapons of war make the earth dirty and spoil its atmosphere. Wars therefore cause misery and destruction. In this way, the poem gives us the message of mutual and peaceful coexistence and warns us not to fight or hate others.
So students, I hope you have understood the summary of the poem. Now let's move on to the poetic devices in the poem. To begin with, we start with the rhyming words and the rhyming scheme. But in our poem, we don't have the rhyming words, and this poem does not have a specific rhyme scheme. It is written in free verse. So let's identify the other figure of speech, that is the poetic devices in this poem. To begin with, let's identify first the alliteration, which is very easy. It is a repetition of the consonants in the words of a line of a poem. So let's identify the alliteration. Can you see an alliteration in the second line of the poem? The sound B. Consonant B is being repeated. So this is an alliteration in the second line. B. In these words, B is being repeated. So it's an alliteration. In the third line, you can see L, like L. In the land, L. Here we have a alliteration in which W verb and V verb W. So there's an alliteration here. Then in the fifth line, aware A, air A. We have some more alliterations. Here we have in this line R, O, own, O. Then here we have in the sleep S, strength S. Then we have in this line love L, land L, and life L. So we have here whenever W, the first consonant W, V. Then we have in this line to hate R, O, and ourselves O. Then we have in this line we, who, W, arms A, against A. Then we have here in this line R, O, and outrage O. Again in this line we have R, O, own, O. So students, we have identified our alliteration in the poem. Let's move on to the next figure of speech which is there in this poem. The figure of speech in this poem is a transferred epithet. Let me tell you what is a transferred epithet. It is a figure of speech where the epithet describing the noun is transferred from the noun. It is meant to describe to another noun. So let's identify this. Here we have the transferred epithet. Starved here is a epithet. Okay, it is placed beside the noun winter. However, it does not describe that the winter is being starved. Instead, starved describes the pronoun they. They here refers to the soldiers in uniform who have to starve during the winter to fight for their land. So yeah, so students, I hope you have understood what is a transferred epithet. So let's move on to the next poetic device in this poem. We have the metaphor in our poem, and what do you mean by metaphor? Metaphor is the comparison of two things or ideas. In this particular line, we have a metaphor where the poet compares the human fellow beings with his own brothers. In this line, like us, the land are brothers. So there is a metaphor in this line. We have a metaphor in this line where there is a comparison between war and winter. What is being compared here is the reduced availability of resources in the both the times, that is during the wars and the winter. So there is a metaphor in this line. Then we have a metaphor in this line where the poet compares between the war and the hell. So these are the three places where we have metaphor. We have another poetic device in this poem which is called as a repetition. The poet repeats a word, remember. He repeats 5 times in the poem. You can see here 1 time, second, third, fourth, and 5. So he has repeated the word remember many times in this. So this is a repetition in this poem. Remember, what is the purpose of repetition is that it conveys the core message of the poem. And what is the core message in this is the oneness of mankind. By emphasizing these words, he has conveyed the core message of the poem. So students, these were the poetic devices in this poem, and I hope you have understood the poetic devices also. So once you know the complete summary of the poem, you can answer the ERC questions which will be asked in your examinations related to the poem. So I hope you have understood the poem very well today, students. So we will meet in the next class with a new topic. Thank you so much, students.